there are a lot of tensions in different kinds of organizations, no matter what kind of organization, that can be reduced and be done away with if we only learn how to understand one another. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. And I think you all know that it was probably Boris who wrote that script. So it's good to see a lot of you, all of you actually, and I can see some familiar faces. And I just wanted to share just a few things that matter to my heart. And there were a couple of things that Boris and I discovered when in our training journey in the past few years. And that one of them is that, there are a lot of tensions in different kinds of organizations, no matter what kind of organization, that can be reduced and be done away with if we only learn how to understand one another. And the second thing that I was surprised at is that, are you all familiar with the DISC assessment? I'm sure a lot of you are, most of you being probably HR people or C-level executives here. And you know how useful it has been in hiring people and placing people? But did you know that it is so helpful also in improving team dynamics? And this is why. It's because a problem with a lot of us is that we think that people should and do think and behave the same way that we do. And so when they don't, we end up frustrated, we end up disappointed, we end up really tense and angry, and that contributes a lot to the tension in the workplace. But if we understood behavioral styles, then we will be thankful for one another. And truth to tell, I see some of you here, some of our past clients and still current clients. And I am so thankful to say, and I hope, that you still think that the DISC intervention has been beneficial to your team. Let me share with you just a few things that I hope you will come away with having known a little more about behavioral styles. You see, there was a psychologist named Dr. William Marston, who at the time when psychologists were studying abnormal behavior, wanted to understand normal behavior, the behavior of normal people. And he found that there were two dynamics that made an impact on our behavioral styles. Okay? So first is our perception of the environment. So this is a general perception that we have. And so if our perception of the environment is generally favorable, then we tend to engage in more open behaviors with people. So that makes us people persons. So these two profiles, influence and steadiness, these are the people-oriented profiles. On the other hand, if our perception of the environment is generally unfavorable, then we tend to be more guarded and we get more comfortable with dealing with tasks rather than dealing with people. So there are two profiles that are task-oriented, and these are dominance, for D, and conscientiousness. Now, the second dynamic further divides these four. The second dynamic is all about our perception of control over the environment. So if our perception of control is generally strong, then, for example, if you're a people person, then we would deal with people more directly. We would engage with them more aggressively, more assertively. We would be friendly. We would not have any hesitation talking with anybody or standing in a group like this. But on the other hand, if your perception of control, if you're a people person, is not as strong, then you would deal with people more indirectly. So that means that you would be a little bit more shy maybe, but you are supportive, you are steady, you're a shoulder to cry on, you're more of a listener than a talker. On the other hand, if you are a task-oriented person and you have a strong sense of control over your task, then you have a big picture kind of thinking, and you already know in your mind how to get from point A to point B. And so you know how to move very fast towards that goal, and you kind of expect everybody to move in the same pace with you. But if you are a task-oriented person and your perception of control is not that strong, then in the pursuit of the same goal, you would be more careful. You would be more conscientious, and that's the C. So that means that you would engage more in detailed thinking because you want to be accurate. So as you can see, these 4 profiles, they are differentiated by these 2 dynamics. And all of us are actually a combination of these 4, but in different intensities. And this is why conflicts and tensions happen. Because if you belong or you have a profile that's, for example, you are a DC. We are a combination. Sometimes one profile is prominent. Sometimes it's a combination of 2 prominent profiles or even 3. So if you are a very task-oriented person and you come across somebody who's very friendly and fun, then you probably would think, this person is not heading anywhere. This person is not helping me achieve my goals. And then maybe somebody who is high in steadiness would say, oh, my boss doesn't care about my needs. He just wants to meet his goals. So you can see the tension, right? So because we are all of us, just imagine your team right now, and with just the descriptions that I gave you, can you already place different people in these different quadrants? And you would see that because people are made of different behavioral styles, they would be different in terms of their priorities. They would have different strengths. They would have different weaknesses. And usually these weaknesses are strengths that are overextended. So, in other words, iba-iba ang pinanggagalingan ng bawat isa. But when you understand this, when you understand and appreciate the different behavioral styles in your team, then you would be thankful actually for each one. Because can you imagine if your team was just made up of one profile, of one style, where everyone is, let's say everyone is conscientious. So they're working very hard. But you know what? They do very detailed thinking, and I'm a C. Very detailed thinking, you can rely on them for analytical thinking, but good luck on meeting your deadline because they're still thinking about things. Okay? So then you would be thankful for somebody who's a D, right? Because the D is decisive. But then the D needs to take it easy when dealing with an S. Because while the S's are very valuable in keeping stable relationships, being nice, being diplomatic, being apologetic, so that they nothing would rock the boat, they want to be treated nicely. Okay? So, and in the same way, why wouldn't you value an I? An I is the life of the party. No? Not just for being the life of the party, but they are good influencers. So think of, can you imagine if everybody in the team is an I, on the other hand? So it's very fun. I wonder how we're meeting our goals though. I mean, but there's a place for everybody. There's a role for everybody to play. And that's what I hope you would come to understand if you undergo the DISC. Not just the assessment, because assessment will help you appreciate yourself. You will know what you bring to the table. But at the same time, okay, so the DISC will the DISC assessment will reveal your natural style, and your adapted style. That this is the disc that is produced by Lead Like Jesus. No? They in a 20-minute assessment, you can receive 40 to 42 pages of results. That doesn't just talk about your profile, but also all these things: your strengths, your motivations, needs, ideal work environment, style under stress, communication tips for others, behavioral adaptability tips. Can you imagine if your whole team went through this? Then you would appreciate one another better, because with this, you have a shared language that is non-judgmental. Okay? You will learn to appreciate each other, appreciate yourself, celebrate one another's contribution, and learn to adapt to one another so that your team can function better. So, and besides, let me just add, you can also request this. If you go through the DISC assessment, you'll get the assessment results, one-on-one debriefing, team coaching, and you can even provide, you can even request for team graphs, a team wheel. Where is everybody? What's everybody's profile? Let's see why no decisions are being made, maybe, or why everybody's quiet in our team. All right. Okay. You can also request for collaboration results. So this is the how two people are working together. And would you believe this is Boris and me? So, I mean, I'm sure you can observe that. So, I hope that this has gotten you interested in helping your team dynamics to be made much better. And I hope that you will find that DISC is helpful for you. So, God bless you. Thank you.